Welcome back to the channel. In this video series, we will talk about cost of sales accounting concepts in SAP. So agenda in this video will be cost of sales with some examples. We will try to understand what is cost of sales. Then what is cost of sales accounting in SAP? What is functional area and what is their role in cost of sales accounting in SAP? What we mean by functional area in master data and what are those master data? How functional area is derived in cost of sales accounting, and what we mean by activating cost of sales accounting in SAP. So let's try to understand first what is cost of sales. So I'd say I have written here so that you can read it, that represent all the costs that go into providing a service or product to a customer, sometimes referred as cost of goods sold if you are into goods selling. Yeah. And what is hidden is direct cost. Okay, just don't compare any indirect cost related to the selling of the goods. All costs which are directly related to the selling of the goods or services in that matter is called cost of sales. Okay, we can understand it by an example. Let's say uh, if a business is a retail business, right, which or e-commerce business which sells its good to customer. Yeah, now it can't deliver its goods to customer, yeah, without delivery fees. So this delivery fees is the direct cost associated with the selling of the good. So this is one of the cost of sales. But similarly, if that business is having some PR agencies set up for the branding and all those stuffs, so that is the cost associated with the business. So that is indirect cost, and this is not cost of sales. Okay. And then why cost of sales is so important? Because if you know that how much cost you are spending, okay, to deliver a good or to serve your customer, right, then you can set up some competitive prices. Yeah, you can decide about them. Or if you know that for this particular cost of goods, supplier cost is very much, yeah, sourcing from the supplier, yeah, you can decide on that also, because that all is captured in cost of sales. Okay, so in the let's check some examples. Let's understand. Okay, let's say we have, this is something goods and products, some retailer example. Let's say, okay, there is some retail business. We just purchase the goods and then sell it. Let's say there is no warehouse cost and nothing like that in between, no delivery cost. Simple. Okay, let's understand it. Let's say someone comes and pick from the stores and there's simple. Let's keep it simple. Okay, so in that case, cost of sales is just like if there was some opening stock, okay, and then how much you purchase and then minus closing stock value will be the cost of sales. Okay, so let's say you have purchased some 500 items for $2 each, so total value of that item was $1,000. Then you make a sales of 250 items out of them, yeah, at the $3 sales price was $3, so you have totally sell for $750, right? So purchase and sales are clear here. Now let's understand closing stock. What was the closing stocks? Opening was 500 and then you sold the 250, so 250 is remaining, and that remaining stock is $2 per stock, right? So $500 stocks value is still there. So now the cost of sales, what will the cost of sales? Cost of sales is your purchasing value minus closing stock value and if any opening stock value, so $500. Now what will the gross profit? You sold 250 items, right? and your selling price was $3 and your purchase was $2, so there was $1 profit per item. Yeah, so you can directly say $250 gross profit, or by formula you say sales, yeah, minus cost of sales. Okay, that is $250. Yeah, so it's not that straightforward. Yeah, there minus $2, $1 profit per item, 250. Because sometimes, let's say if you have some opening stock value here, you add that, just imagine, then what will be the cost of sales? Let's say $50 was there, so it was 550. Then 50 minus 550, cost of sales here, then only $200. So it will not go by this sales minus purchase. So that's why cost of sales is very important to get right profit, right? Now let's understand by another example from service industries, let's say. So there in the service industry, cost of sale is like, let's say in a period or in a month, how much time you spent on all services or projects you did, whether complete or incomplete. Okay, or total cost, total hours worked. Okay, then minus the time is spent on all services or projects which are not sold. Okay, that will be kind of a closing stock value. So how much hours you spent, because every hour is billable. Yeah, let's say for some rate. So total you worked in that period and minus the time which you work on the services or projects which you are not able to sold in that period. Okay, so that will be your closing stock. So let's understand from here. Let's say you make a sale of 5 projects as a service company, something. So 5 projects they sold, and each project cost was $250. So total $1,250 they sold. But they worked totally for related to that project and all, whether complete or incomplete, all projects. They worked for 40 hours, and the cost for each hour was $25. So $1,000 about total value comes, right? But it was realized that 8 hours in that was somehow the project what we did, we were not able to sell it, right? So around $200 total value was the closing stock value at that time. So cost of sales is very simple. Yeah, we can say your total hours minus closing stock value is $800, or even your how much hours you were able to sell at 32 with the rate. So that is also $800 here. Then gross profit will be here sales minus cost of sales value. So total sale was $1,250 and cost of sales was $800. So profit was around $450. Yeah. Okay. So you know, get the idea like what is cost of sales, why it is important to understand the gross profit, right? Because it might come into your mind that sales was of 250 and total was 1,000, so profit will make 250. But no, if you see here that to sell those projects only cost of sales was $800, because there is around $200 which we are not able to sell. Yeah, that is the closing stock is still with us. Yeah, so for that related sale which we did, we actually worked for 32 hours only, which turns out to be $800 value. Yeah, so our profit was $450 for this sales value, right? So that's how it's very important. So now I hope you got the point. What is cost of sales accounting, right? Let's get to next topic, which is cost of sales accounting in SAP. Okay. So as I told you, what is cost of sales, right? Now, so to bring into SAP, we do something called cost of sales accounting. Yeah. It captures all the cost which cost of sales do to make and sell the product or services a company offers. Okay. And how it captured? It's actually cost this let's say they group these costs by the functional area, something called functional area in SAP. Okay, it can be the functional areas we can say like production functional area or sales function or admin. Yeah, this cost can go to for a goods. Yeah, directly related, right? There can be others also, and other costs like I told you about indirect costs. Yeah, they will not be fitting into this, so they will be captured in other way. Yeah, but all direct costs related to the goods procured or produced and sold, or services which company offers are grouped by functional areas like production, sales, admin, and other functional areas, so you can create your own. Okay, so that's all about cost of sales and cost of sales accounting. Okay, in next video we will talk about functional areas. So this is definition of functional area. A functional area is an account assignment characteristics that sorts operating expenses according to their functions. Direct, okay? And that function can be like for manufacturing, if you are doing the manufacturing of the product in yourself, then administration cost which comes for that product, right? And sales and distribution cost, if any coming, yeah, delivery and all those things, right? What R&D you are doing for this product, if any comes into picture, right? So those all costs will come as a cost of sales, right? So in SAP, if you want to do it, you can follow this path in SPRO, yeah. You can define your functional area, or you can directly enter this transaction code OKBD, right? And this is one example of functional area, some roughly from some system. Yeah, you can see it's not only this, but you can make your own. Yeah, like different. If you see for your business, these are direct associated costs, right? So this is about functional area. Now let's understand. You defined your functional area using OKBD. Then what are the functional area in master data? Okay. So actually in SAP, there are various master data objects where you can assign your functional area, which you have defined in OKBD. Those objects are GL accounts, they can be cost elements, that can be cost centers, it can be orders, then the orders can be order type, your internal orders, your sales order, maintenance orders, production orders, yeah, cost of the hierarchy, WBS elements, yeah, your network type, header activity, right? All those things are the master data or objects where you can maintain your functional areas. Okay, so one example is like from GL account, where if it is a P&L statement account, you can maintain your functional area there. Or this is one example of internal order. Here also you can maintain your functional area. Now, I hope functional area is clear to you, and how functional area maintain master data is clear to you, right? Now let's go to next topic, which will be about how functional areas are derived in SAP. Means, when I say derived in SAP, means SAP postings, okay? So the system, when you maintain these functional areas, system derives functional areas so that expenses can be grouped by functions during primary postings, which are basically posting financial accounting, to an income statement account. This is very important. Okay, no balance sheet account functional is not derived for balance sheet accounts. Okay, only P&L accounts, right? Profit and loss, yeah, sales cost, or secondary posting, which are allocated in controlling directly. Then we reconcile them with the FI. Basically, okay, happens. If you are in ECC, in S4 reconciliation is real time, so not needed. Okay. Then, as I told, doesn't happen for balance sheets, and also not for statistical key figures in controlling. Okay. And you should understand that functional area, when I say derived, they are not available on the entry screen when you enter document. Okay, if you are saying document entry and all, if you know SAP screens, right, you enter some documents, at that moment it will not, it will be derived when you are saving your document in SAP. Then it will be available when document is created. and it is derived from those master data. One thing. Okay. Now let's see in what sequence these functional areas derived in your postings. Okay. So here, first we have already seen those master record where objects functional areas are maintained, right? So if it is maintained, there are those objects other than GNL account, okay, like internal orders, sales orders, okay, on those kind of objects. Then system retains these functional areas when you do some postings. But the thing is, it can be overwritten by subsequent checks. Okay, like the next one, that one functional area which you have maintained, yeah, on some other objects like the sales order and all, but when we see it is impacting some GL accounts in the line item going forward for the documents, right? When billing and all happens, at that moment, what functional area was maintained in that income GL account, or in other case cost element, it will then whatever it was derived from other objects like sales order, internal orders and all, that will be overwritten by this functional area. Okay, so GNL account when comes into picture, then it will be overwritten. Yeah. Now there is also third option. Third option is you can define your own substitution. Okay, so that function area can be derived, means like whatever these two steps sequence wise coming here, it can be overwritten. Okay, or derivation can also be helpful, means like substitution derivation can also be helpful when you are not able to decide, right, at the time of master data creation, what will be our functional areas, let's say in internal orders, in sales orders, in order types, or in matter of fact like GNL accounts. Okay, you don't know what can be your functional area, but you know later. Yeah, so you can create some substitution rule, of course, yeah, and then you can do there. Or let's say you want to have some exception here. Let's say for GL account, okay, fine, income GL account, okay, fine, but for some particular case you want that, okay, this should be overwritten, so you can put all those here. Yeah, so this is how functional area derivation happens in SAP. Okay, now in the next video we will understand how cost of sales accounting is activated in SAP. Okay, so activating cost of sales accounting. So first you should understand that cost of sales accounting is not activated for every company code, okay, in the system. That has to be decided at the beginning phase, when you're setting up your company code. Okay, so to activate cost of sales accounting, yeah, you see here we have activate cost of sales accounting here. Okay, under this SPRO path here, you can come here. When you enter here, then this is something, means this screen will come up. Okay, this is one of the screenshot from there. This is one of your company code. You have three options of cost of sales. You can put it as inactive, that you don't want, that is by default. Okay, as you see here. Then you can put in preparation. In preparation means that you are still not going to post anything in the system. You are still in the process of preparing your company code. You are expecting that there will be no postings, Then what happened that first using OKBD you define your functional areas, right? Then you can enter your functional areas in the master data objects, master data objects, right? Which I told you like GL account, cost element, cost centers, internal orders. You can go by that, right? You can maintain there. So it means that when you put in preparation means in that company code or yeah, or at a controlling area, field will be available to enter your functional areas. Okay, if you put it in preparation, otherwise that field will also be not be available. Yeah, and when you maintain your function areas all, then you can come and put the status to be active. So as you put the status active, so then the functional areas will be derived in the postings or will be updated also in the postings, okay, as the derivation sequence is there. Okay, hope this video is helpful. Please like, comment your thoughts and subscribe the channel to show your support, and don't forget to press on bell notification to get notified whenever new video is uploaded. Happy learning.